Welcome to the It Matters podcast. I'm your host, Walter Perez, and let's dive in as we help you grow your mindset and elevate your leadership. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the It Matters podcast. Man, I am super pumped that you're here. Can I just take a moment and say thank you for all the support, all of you are showing, the comments and just the belief that you have in this podcast, and it means a lot to me. And I appreciate that you guys keep coming back. And I would love it if you guys share it, comment, and invite others to come and listen. I'm excited to continue to bring some very amazing guests on the show, and I want to be able to bring some more topics that are some thought-provoking topics and things that we can chat about that will add value to you, regardless of where you lead, regardless of the arena that you live your life in. And I'm excited to continue to add value that way. And so today I bring to you a solo episode, and I want to talk about the importance of having a coach in your life, the perspective that you should have when it comes to having coaching and mentorship as part of your life. And so what I do want to say, though, that I'm not going to talk about how to go find a coach or how to find a mentor. I think I could leave that for another episode because there's a lot of details in there that we can unravel and I could help you out with, but we'll leave that for another time. And I'm also not going to talk about how you can be a coach or how you can be a mentor. That's also a topic for another time, but I'll definitely consider that. But today, like I said, I want to talk about having the right mindset around the idea of having a coach or a mentor in your life. You see, I think having coaching is very important. I've had coaching in my life and mentors in my life for the last 20 plus years. I even do today, and I've had them in different areas of my life. And so, on that note, I think it might be important to just kind of chat about what is the difference between coaching and mentorship. Are they one and the same, or are they a little different? Now, in my opinion, I think they are different. Mentorship tends to lie on more of individuals that you can seek out that are, that have gone before you, that have experience, that might even be older than you. I find mentorship relationships to be more value driven. You line up with their values, you gain their trust. They're more like long term relationships that you establish. And maybe another way to put it is that there's a wholeness aspect of it. When they bring perspective into your life, they're more on the wholeness concept of every aspect of your life that they can speak into. And so, and when it comes to coaching, uh, I think that's a little bit more selective. It's a little bit more on purpose. They provide training, they provide tools. They're people that are here to problem solve and maybe improve performance. And so it's something to understand that there is a difference and that there's room for both of them in your life. One of the reasons that I'm so excited about talking about coaching and mentorship is because one of my favorite proverbs is that goes like this: a wise man has a multitude of counselors. And so when we're talking about counselors, we are talking about coaching, we are talking about mentorship. And in that process, you can have many. In fact, it could be a wise thing to have a multitude of them because it only brings you more perspective, more wisdom. Um, what I like about it too, by the way, is that it allows us to stay humble. It allows us to not feel like we have arrived. One of the most dangerous time in a leader's life is when they think that they know it all and they don't allow any outside perspective. They don't allow any outside counsel, and so that's why I wanted to talk about this topic, because if you don't have a coach in your life or a mentor in your life, I hope that after this episode, you'll encourage to go seek one. Or maybe I'll remind you of a time in your life when you did have coaches in your life or mentors in your life that spoke into your life, because they've come in a lot of different forms. They come in the form of a teacher, in form of athletic coaches. They'll come in the form of a parent. uh, we can make a list on this, but I assure you that all of you have probably experienced this in one way or another. So my uh, perspective on this is that I've actually had quite a few coaches in my life. As many of you know, that in the past episode I mentioned that I used to wrestle. So wrestling was my sport. I used to wrestle in junior high. I wrestled in high school, and then coming out of high school, I also coached for a little bit. And so that's one of the reasons that I'm passionate about coaching. But I also had coaches in other aspects of my life, or actually in other sports that I did, because I also did soccer. For those of you who are fanatic, we call it football. Uh, I'm just trying to keep it real. We need to call it the right thing. But we got football, soccer. We have track and field that I did. I also played some basketball. I did a few different sports where I got to experience what a coach really felt like in my life. And so in the later years, I've also had mentors in my life that have more specifically spoken into my life when it comes to faith, when it comes to business. I have mentors today. I have coaches today that have helped me and continue to help me, because one thing that I know is that I don't know everything. I don't know everything, and I do need help, and I do know that it's wisdom when you seek that out. Okay, so I want to back up to this wrestling thing, because out of all the sports that I've done, wrestling has been one of the more impactful ones for me. And that is because of the type of coaching that I used to get in that sport. Now, the coach would be very important for me when it came to training. He taught me new skills, taught me how to think, taught me how to train. It was very important for me in the early years, and when I was moving on in years as well. But what I really found fascinating is when it came to game day, match day. When you were in wrestling, so in junior high, you would wrestle 3-minute matches, if I remember correctly. In high school, they upped the ante and they made you wrestle for 6 minutes with a 30-second break in between. And so, one thing that you were allowed when you were on the wrestling mat is you were allowed to have a coach in your corner. Now, I used to train hard. I worked really hard to understanding the sport, understanding what I needed to know, how to wrestle against different opponents, different styles. I put my time in, and I was very proud of that because I enjoyed the sport. But I still needed a coach. So when I was in high school and I wrestled for those 6 minutes, see, I could show up to a match, and yeah, there were some opponents that I can kind of read and know their style, but there were times that I had guys that I used to wrestle that I they would surprise me, that they had a different technique that I never really experienced. And even though I knew how to wrestle, even though I knew how to, I had kind of in my mind been in every situation before, the coach provided a perspective. You see, he stood in the corner of the mat and he had a perspective. He had a view that I didn't when I was looking straight on to my opponent. See, I could start wrestling, and I would kind of do a couple of moves, and I had my favorites, and I had my technique that would work really well for my size and for my style. But the coach had a view that I didn't, and he would look at the other opponent sometimes and go, "Hey, you need to watch out because he continues to do this thing. Every time that you do this, he's already prepared. The reason he keeps blocking you is because you're foretelling your move in this style, in this way." And so my coach would be able to yell from the corner while the match was going on, and he would say, "Hey, make sure you're stepping side to side. Don't forget to look up. Don't forget to keep your hands up. Don't forget to keep moving. Hey, remember, breathe properly." All those kind of things. As I was in the match, I could hear those, and they were very helpful. Sometimes when you were going the full length and you didn't beat your opponent within the first 3 minutes, and you were going the extra, the extra three, you were in there for more than 4 or 5 minutes, you would get tired and you wouldn't be thinking straight at times. So my coach would be yelling at me and encouraging me and telling me, "Hey, keep doing what you're doing. Make sure that you don't let go when you're over here. Hey, make sure you circle in so you're not stepping out of bounds." Where I also found it very important is that when we had that 30-second break that I was telling you about, yes, those 30 seconds were important for me because I was able to drink some water, I was able to catch my breath, but I was able to get coached. I was able to get inspired. I was able to get motivated. I was able to hear the perspective that my coach had, and he would be like, "Hey, when you go back in, this should be your game plan on going into the second half. This should be the way you should approach this because this guy is getting tired, or I can see that this guy is making this type of mistake every time that you do this one move." And so it was awesome to have that perspective because it's a perspective that I would have never had while I was in there. And that's something that I did when I coached as well. To be honest with you, I think I might have enjoyed coaching at one point more than I enjoyed actually wrestling because it was an opportunity for me to give a thought and perspective to encourage them, and I would help them win. I was helping them um, I was helping them advance and be able to be better because I was in the corner. So this is what I actually have to say about that. I think when you have a coach in your life, no matter what arena in your life, you're basically expanding your team. You're inviting another team player onto your team to be able to accomplish whatever you're trying to do. I want to give you another perspective, okay? I want to step out of the sport analogy for 1 second, and I want you to think of it this way. Imagine you were driving right now and you got stuck in traffic. How many of us have been stuck in traffic and we go, "Oh man, I wish I could just look around the bend. I wish I could just look down a little bit further to see what's happening." You see the big line of cars, but you don't know why. You don't know if that means that when I get to that one point, I'll be able to just pass the whatever is causing this traffic, and I'll be able to get home a lot quicker, or is it go another around another corner and around another corner? Like, how do I figure this out? Now imagine this. Imagine if you had someone get into a helicopter flying above you and you got on the phone with them and they said to you, they're them being your coach, and they said to you, "Okay, listen, okay, Walter, I know you can't fully see what's happening, but you're gonna have to trust me. You're gonna have to get off this road and take your next right." And imagine if I went, "Okay, well, no, 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 there's so many cars getting off. It looks like the traffic is even worse." But your coach comes back and says, "No, no, no, wait. I can see the overall perspective. I can see roads. I can see kilometers or miles away. You're going to have to trust me. You're going to have to go and take this exit. It's going to seem like it's going to go slower. But when you drive down a couple of minutes, I'm going to get you to do a little U turn, and then you're going to turn right, and then you're going to drive a few blocks and turn left again, and then you're going to be able to go down this alley that will be clear, and you'll be able to come out in front of the traffic jam about 10 blocks." In your mind, that might not make sense because you're going, "Oh, I'm already late. I want to get home right now. How can this make sense? You're taking me in the wrong direction. You're stalling me. You're making me go into maybe a little bit more traffic. You're making me go into a neighborhood that I'm not even sure of." But when you trust your coach, when you understand that they have a perspective that you don't have, and you listen to them, you realize that the value of having somebody like that actually does help you. They actually do guide you. And so I wanted to give you those two perspectives because some of you might be pushing back and going, "I don't need a coach in my life. I don't need a mentor in my life." Can I get you to stop for a moment and get you to just reframe your mind? Because it's a good thing. It's a wise thing to have people around you that can speak into your life. Don't live your life like you know it all. Don't live your life like you have arrived, because there's nothing more that stunts growth than you being stuck in your ways, being set in your ways, and thinking that you know best. You might understand your industry, you might know your skill set and your strengths, and yes, that might be helpful, but it's never wrong, it's never a bad idea to have people give you some perspective. So when we talk about that, it'll give you this idea of why it's important to have coaching and mentorship. You hopefully have given you enough of a perspective on the value of that. You see, when we start inviting more perspectives into our lives, more thoughts, we're actually going to grow. You see, when I think about mentorship in our lives, and somebody who has more experience than us, who might be older than us, who has been there, done that, and is able to maybe warn us and is able to guide and direct us, why do you have to go learn from your own mistakes? Why do you have to go learn from your own experience? I think personally, it's very silly when somebody says, "Oh no, I like to learn it on my own." I think you can learn while also not repeating the mistakes that other people have made. Like, why do you have to go learn everything the hard way? That is actually not the best way to learn. You can do hard things, but you can also do smart things. And so by inviting people into your life like a mentor, they will be able to probably save you headaches, save you time, save you money, save you broken relationships that you can just avoid in the now and get you to succeed in the future. And so I've seen it in my life where uh, over and over and over, I've had people speak into my life, and I'm very thankful. I can look back today on how these individuals helped me and guided me along the way, which is why I'm such an advocate for this. I'm such an advocate for you to have people to speak into your life, because when you have the right coaches, and yes, you have to find the right people. You got to find people that are actually know what they're talking about. You got to find experts in your industry or in the area that you need coaching in. People that actually have the tools, people that have the perspective that you will be able to use and utilize. As well with mentors, you want to be able to line up with their values. You don't want to just have somebody that is giving you advice in an area that they have no right to be giving you advice in, because they've never experienced that. They've never done anything in that area. So you want to be able to think about that. And especially in a mentorship relationship, you want to be able to gain trust. You want to be able to build a relationship. So if they're going to speak into your life, you're going to want to you want to invite that. On that note, by the way, if you're going to have coaches and if you're going to have people speaking to your life, or you're going to have mentors in your life, if you're going to invest, specifically in coaching, there's sometimes a cost associated to that where you pay somebody to coach you. If you're going to spend the money, if you're going to invest money into coaching, then you better listen to them. Now, are they humans and could they make a mistake and possibly give you some advice that may not make sense? Yes, of course they can. But overall, the general principle, if you're going to invest in that, make sure you're not fighting the coach. Make sure you're not fighting against the mentor, that you're actually listening and taking their perspective in and doing what they're telling you to do. There's nothing more crazy to me than when you invite people to speak into your life like coaches and you don't listen to them at all. You think you know more than them. Maybe you're not ready for a coach and a mentor. And my perspective is that you should all have coaches and mentors in your life, but maybe you need to do some self-assessment first and realize that, hey, I need to get humble. I need to be more humble. I need to become more of a servant leader, and I need to understand the importance of learning and the importance of allowing people in my life. And I assure you that it will add a lot of value to you. It will add wisdom. It'll add years. You will gain more time. You will understand how to problem solve. You'll understand how to tackle some of the difficult things in life. And it. I don't think you only need coaches and mentors when hard things are in your life. Yeah, I think you can use them when things are going well too, because we can get a little too cocky. We can get caught up in success, and we can sometimes miss those principles and those values that we know that work. We sometimes maybe go off the road a little bit, thinking that, oh, I'm going to try something new, or I'm just going to tweak that thing that I know, that principle that always works. I'm going to tweak it. Remember that there's many ways to do things, but it's important to be a person of principle, because when you got those in line, and when those are on track, you're gonna win. You're gonna have some success in life. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope that encourages you and inspires you. You can reach out if you want to talk more about that, and if I can give you some more guidance and direction. Like I said, in a future episode, maybe we'll talk more about how to find a coach, how to find a mentor, what are the things that you should be looking for, and how to find that. But first, I wanted you to have the right perspective on why coaching and mentorship is important. So I hope that adds value to you. I hope that you seek it. I hope you go find some people to become part of your inner circle, part of your council, so that you can win at whatever it is that you're working in life, whether that's business, at your job, whether that's at home, whatever it is that you are doing that you want to win at, and that you want to lead well at, that you'll be able to have that input and do amazing. So thank you guys for joining me today. Please share this episode, comment, invite people to hear this episode and the other episodes. I'll see you next week with a guest that I'm pumped and excited to present to you. And yeah, until next time, guys, remember, we want to continue to dream big and continue to grow always. And of course, we want to lead well. All right, guys, bye for now.